Hey everybody, guess what time it is? Yep, we're going to open up another classic piece of radio gear that just got shipped to D-Lab. And it came in this nice Home Depot box. I don't know if it did so well on the trip. So in this box is a restored Johnson Viking 2 transmitter. Somebody recently purchased it and I guess it didn't work, so they sent it to me for repair. I doubt that K1TLI used this box when he shipped it to the new owner. So I'm really leery about what's going to happen when I open this. So what I've done to prep myself, yeah, I got some wine. Had to have a glass before this to work up my courage to open this box. Alright, you're going to see it as I see it. Here we go. So what we're going to do is get it out of the box, and then I'm going to inspect it and give it a initial test. Okay, so we got a lot of bubble wrap, and of course my favorite of all things, popcorn. Oh boy, yeah, she's it appears as though the front is on that side, and that's the side of the box that you can see that's buckled out. Rear of the transmitter is back here. So if there's any damage, it's on the front panel. Excellent. Alright, let's pull it. Alright, I can see the face through the plastic. It doesn't look destroyed. If this thing made it, guys, I'll be shocked. Alright. These aren't exactly shirt pocket model, people. They weigh a megaton. Here we go. I guess I should have moved that knife. Alright. Are we ready? Wow. That is one gorgeous transmitter. I expected to see the face of this thing buckled in. It actually made it one piece. Alright, let's take a break. I'll get the top popped off. We'll make sure none of the tubes got smashed. Okay guys, this is a restoration by K1TLI. Chuck Hurley. I believe he's in Connecticut, something like that. Alright, I just removed the 3 screws from the back. We're going to pop the top. You're seeing this as I see it. There she goes. Okay, well, there is no internal packing. Rectifiers jumped out of their sockets. You're awful lucky these didn't smash. Okay. Get these reinstalled. Very lucky. Usually these things would have been shrapnel. Everything actually looks pretty good in here. Let's see if the roller inductor turns. No. I believe the set screw is just loose. Little bakelite damage on the knob right there. Alright, I'm going to tighten the set screw. And let's see if the roller inductor turns. That's my main concern. If it took a hit, it breaks. Ceramic coupler. Nope. Man, dude, you're lucking out. It's turning. It's a little stiff, but it feels good. Alright, I'm going to pop the bottom and give it an inspection. Then I'll fire it up. Alright, inspected the bottom side. Everything looked okay. Fired it up. She's alive. I'm on 40 meters. Got plenty of grid. There's my plate. I noticed this switch pretty stiff, but she dips, getting a little over 100 watts out. So it transmits. That's hard to believe. All right, now let's go ahead and hook up a mic. See if I get any modulation out of her. Okay, we're in phone, 40-meter band. Oh, look at there. No push to talk. Maybe that was the problem he had. All right, let's just go ahead and manually kick her on. Modulation current is a lot higher than what it should be. It's about 120 milliamps. Just a wisp of modulation, not much at all. So I believe that the problem is that there's something wrong in the modulation section. I'm still shocked that this thing made it in that box. What a gorgeous looking transmitter. Alright, we're going to pop the bottom, give her an inspection. Symptoms right now, high modulation current. And push to talk is not working at all. Maybe we just got some wires that have disconnected themselves in here from transit. I don't know. There we go. Alright, so first off, this looks like the original modulator adjustment resistor. Sometimes those just pop open. There is the push to talk relay. That guy's not working. Looks like it's all wired up. So, I don't know. Everything looks good in here. Looks really nice. So first thing I'll do is we'll buzz out the resistor. We'll get in here and check and make sure that we've got voltage to the push to talk relay. Obviously something's missing here. It's probably pretty simple. Let's go. Alright, push to talk is working. It was obviously my microphone that I hooked up. My bad. Okay, so PTT is fine, but we still have high modulator current and no modulation. So I'm not sure what that is. Same thing. Just a slight amount of audio. So I'm going to get in here and check out the preamp section. May have popped the interstage transformer. That's a typical failure on the Vikings. But I'm sure whatever it is, it's a simple problem. So modulation problem solved. Turned out the 807s were shot. Listen to this thing. Baby rattle. Okay. Could have happened in shipping. Luckily, a friend of mine, this guy here, sent me a set of some Jan 807s, new old stock. I just installed them in the Viking 2. They're working perfectly, okay? So I really appreciate you doing that, man. So the next issue, of course, is the plate switch is frozen. It appears as though it has been replaced, but it was not a good replacement, or it could have been damaged in shipping. So I've got this beautiful Carling switch we're going to change it with, but of course the only way to change it is to pull the front panel. Good times. Alright, we'll keep on going. Alright, removed the front panel. I've got the new switch in place. Here is the old one. That's no go on that one. Alright, let's get the panel back on and I'm going to wire it up. I've got the Viking 2 back together, so it's test time. Alright, I'm using a National 183 as my receiver, and it only has about a 2-foot piece of wire off the back of it. The Viking is VFO controlled. The first band we will test is 40 meters. I'm using a dummy load, alright, and a D104 mic unamplified. We're just going to load it up, make sure everything looks good, get the proper power out, and we'll listen to it on the receiver. So the Viking is idling, filament circuit's on, we're in phone. Alright, so I'm going to walk you through the switch positions here. go to oscillator first. So when I go to CW, that's keying the VFO, and I'm at approximately 7.1 megahertz, okay? So oscillator you can't adjust. You just want to make sure that it's there, all right? Now I'm going to go to buffer. Now when you go to buffer, you peak oscillator for maximum buffer current, okay? Then you go to grid, then you peak buffer for maximum grid. You see that little line? That's about 8 milliamps, and that's where Johnson wants you to set it. That's the proper grid drive for the 6146s. If you exceed that, you can damage the tubes, but if you run it too low, then the tubes are not going to come to full power, and that can also hurt them, okay? My coupling is set at 4, and you can see my rotor inductor is at approximately 50, okay? You can find this information in the Johnson manual, okay? So now that I've got my grid set, we're going to go to plate. We're going to go to phone operation, and this is when I'm going to apply high voltage. So you can see we have no plate current at this point. You shouldn't, okay? When I flip on plate, you're going to see power output over here on the dummy load watt meter, and then we're going to dip it with a roller inductor. So you see me dipping it, okay? And when you dip it, that should be maximum power output, right? If you want to reduce your power a little bit, you can turn down the fine coupling and just redip. Then go to grid, make sure that you've got proper grid. You see it went down a little bit, that's because the output tubes are pulling a little bit of current now. You can re-peak with your buffer if you want. But we're transmitting, guys. I'm putting out about 120 watts. Now if you go to modulation, with the audio all the way down, and you key it, you should see approximately 50 to 60 milliamps. That's the idle current of the 807 tubes. There's a slide resistor underneath that you set that current with, okay? So if you have one of these and you have your audio down, you flip that on, that modulator current, say, is up here around 200, you better shut it off or you're going to melt your tubes down. That's usually an indication that that modulation bias resistor has opened up. A very common problem with these Vikings. So now we've got her tuned up, we're in modulation, and I'm going to use the push to talk. So let's give it some audio. You can see that modulation current. It's going from the idle current, and she's a modulating. And if you look at the output meter here, you can see I can go over 200 watts of power. This Viking is talking. Alright, now we're going to tune up another band. In this case, it's going to be the 11 meter band. I've had people ask me to produce a video showing the tune-up procedure for that band. It's not a ham band, but the Viking 2 can tune up on 11 meters. Alright, so my VFO is set at 11 meters. If you look right there, you'll see the 27.1 megahertz, okay? So that bottom scale is the CB band, alright? So what I'm going to do is we're going to take our band selector and go to 10 meters. The Viking does not have an 11 meter selection. It only has 10, but with the VFO, you can use that band to operate 11 meters, okay? So same deal. We're going to go over here to oscillator. And make sure you have oscillator current. We do. Going to go to buffer. Peak the oscillator. Go to grid. Peak the buffer. Now you're going to find that on this band the buffer is a little more touchy, and the reason that is it's actually taking a 6-point-something megahertz frequency off the VFO and it's multiplying it times 4. Okay? So just because you're dialing in 27.1 megahertz does not mean that that's what that box is feeding the Viking. It's actually feeding it a 6.7 megahertz band. You can take an 11 meter frequency like 27.025, divide it by 4, and that is the frequency that's coming off that VFO. So when you're adjusting this buffer, she's a little touchy because it's doing that multiplication. Okay? So get it close. There it is. Then we're going to go to plate. Now here's the first thing you want to do before you flip on that plate switch. See that roller inductor? It's in the wrong spot. You need to take this up, and you can find this in the manual for 10 meters. Go up somewhere around 90. Okay, that seems to be the magic number on these Viking 2s. Alright? this coupling has to go to 7. All you use on the 11 meter and 10 meter band is fine coupling. You don't use this coupling at all. Just put her at 7 and leave it, okay? So you can see your dial positions, right? Your oscillator, you're at 10 meter band. Our drive is around 4 to 5. We're probably going to have to bring that up a little bit. Crystal's at 0. That's because you're using the VFO. Now we're going to flip over to phone, okay? Everything else is good. I'm going to turn my audio down. We're on plate. I'm going to kick it on, and we're going to dip it. See the dip? Now we're a little high. We're over 300 mils. So we're going to back him down, okay? There it is. Dippity-doo-dah. I got about 120 watts output. That's a sign that your 6146s are in great shape if they can produce the same output on the high frequencies as it does the lower frequencies. So yeah, she's looking good. Same deal. Go to mod, key it up, 50 milliamps, and there she is again, talking away. Now, I would not recommend that you use a powered D104 on the Viking. When they're working correctly, a standard unamplified D104 works great on these transmitters. Alright, so the next step, you can see the meters bouncing, you can see everything. It looks as though it's working, but how about we take a listen to this Viking on the 183 receiver. Alright, so it's the on-the-air test, okay? Now this is not a true on-the-air test because the Viking is going into a dummy load, but the receiver is pretty close to it, and I got about a 2-foot piece of wire, and this is a very sensitive receiver, so I'm sure it'll pick up the Viking. As a matter of fact, we'll probably get some feedback, alright? So I've got my modulation at about 3 on the audio, okay? So first we'll find the station. There he is. Bring up my RF gain a little bit. Oh yeah, so there we are. True Viking 2 audio. A little bit raspy to punch through all the hashy trash out there. I know the lingo, guys. Alright, let me try to dial this in a little bit better. Alright, I'll bring up my audio a little bit so we can really hear the thunder booming. So I'm about 6.5 on the audio gain. I'm going to crank the RF gain back so I don't blow the doors down. Hello, there it is. Yeah, like I said, she's modulating. Alright, I've adjusted the AF gain and RF gain to eliminate as much of the feedback as I can so you can really hear the audio of the Viking. We'll see if I get lucky. Hello, 1 2. Hello, 1 2 3 4. Yeah. Yeah, she's talking. Man, crystal clear Viking audio with feedback, but you get the point, okay? This Viking 2 is working perfectly, okay? So if you receive this Viking 2 and it doesn't work for you, then you'll know that you should get some assistance, okay? Because these things, you know, you got to kind of understand the art of tuning them, okay? It's not like a regular, say, CB radio where you flip on the knob and you key it up. This is not a utility operator's radio. You've got to study the manual and you have to play with this transmitter, preferably into a dummy load. One word of caution, never run this transmitter without a dummy load attached, especially if you're in phone operation, because that amplitude modulation, that cool sound you're hearing, that is actually taking the carrier and the audio rides on it and it's looking for the proper load, and if it doesn't see the proper load, it'll eat your modulation transformer, and those are super hard to find. Alright, so if you have a Johnson Viking 2 or Ranger or perhaps a Johnson 500 and you need it restored, you can contact Chuck Hurley at johnsonradioresto.com or simply search Google for Johnson Radio Restorations. He's the guy. He also sells restored radios. Check out his website. Here's another one of his great creations, and I had the honor of working on it. Appreciate it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video.